Welcome on board Narrowboat Business. Over the last few years of living on the canal, I've experienced some wonderful things. Not just the wildlife, the sunset, sunrises, that beautiful snow in the last vlog that you saw, but the connection with history as well. These canals have been here for around 200 years, and it's incredible that they're still here. And that's all down to the Canal and River Trust and its thousands of volunteers. So on this episode, I'm going to take you back in time, a little bit of history, taking some extracts from some of the vlogs that I've filmed over the last few years. Sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you a bit later on. On my journey along the Macclesfield Canal, we know that cotton, silk and flour were transported on barges, wooden barges, horse-drawn, along the canal. There's even a bigger commodity that was transported along the canals and even excavated next to the canals, and that is coal. Coal powered the Industrial Revolution. It also created pollution. Coal mining's been going on here at Poynton since the 16th century, but it was between 1932 and 1935 that the last pits closed down. Nelson Pit, just not far from me. With the closure of the pits and the onset of World War II looming around the corner, there was no need for the barges anymore. They were scuttled, stripped of the metal, and sunk. So under that water, there's hidden history, 14 coal boats. And because it's a small area, when they sunk the boats, they stacked them on top of each other. Several years ago, the Canal and River Trust decided they needed to do some maintenance here. They needed to fix a couple of leaks next to the water service point. They planked off the canal just at the bridge here and also created a dam just near the footbridge. And all that water was slowly drained over several days. As the canal water slowly went down, you could see the bits of wood sticking up here or there. You couldn't make out the shapes at first, but as the water went down even more was revealed. History, skeletons of the canal. There's the Victorian structure, and it's called the Anderton Boat Lift. It's 50 feet high and transports narrowboats like this one from the top, which is the Trent and Mersey Canal, down to the bottom where the River Weaver is. 50 feet high. It's an amazing structure. Now, the The reason it's here today is because it's been maintained by humans, of course. It can't maintain itself. It's a beautiful structure. It's a bit of artwork, really. I look at it as artwork. But it is an amazing piece of engineering. The boats go into what they call caissons, which are like huge bathtubs of water. And then your boat descends by a hydraulic system. Locks are amazing, you know, they're like steps up a hillside for boats. A great piece of engineering, especially like Bosley just down there. And then that direction I have Marple. And again, they're still here to this day, operating. At the Marple flight, there's 16 locks in total, and from the bottom to the top, it rises 209 feet, over 1.5 miles. It makes it one of the steepest locks in the country. It's not an easy job fitting new lock gates. It is a mammoth task. And I was there a couple of years ago and managed to film the process of the lock gates being craned in and fitted. The gates are put in position, but that it doesn't end there, because then the skilled carpenters of Canal River Trust come in and have to chisel away and so that the gates lock flush together. This is Gurney Aqueduct on the Macclesfield Canal. Just over there in that white cottage, a guy called James Brindley used to stay. James Brindley was a pioneer in canal building. His work included the Trent and Mersey, many tunnels and aqueducts. Brindley built 365 miles of canals. And down there at that cottage where he stayed from 1733 to 1740, James Brindley did his apprenticeship as a wheelwright. In the time that James Brindley was staying there, his view looking up towards the canal would have been completely different because there was no canal. The Macclesfield Canal wasn't built until 1831, and that was by William Crosley. But there is a view that we share to this day that Brindley would have seen, and that is the sun rising at the back of the cottage. There's some amazing bridges along the Macclesfield Canal, and this is one of them. This is Bridge 43, a fantastic structure. In fact, a very curvy, beautiful piece of engineering called a turnover bridge. Many of the locals call these bridges snaily bridges or serpent bridges. And it is one of the most beautiful bridges along this section of the canal, just around the corner from where James Brindley used to stay. They were constructed to allow the horses towing the boat to cross over to the other side of the towpath, on the other side of the canal, without having to unhitch the tow line. If you fancy doing a bit of singing, this is a brilliant place because you got the echo, the reverb. Welcome to the Macclesfield Canal and the Bosley Flight. 12 locks stretching over a distance of 1 mile and raising boats about 118 feet from the bottom end up here to top lock. In 1826, Thomas Telford, the famous engineer, put in 2 reports to Parliament on the estimated cost of building all this and the Macclesfield Canal. And his estimate was £295,000 at the time. But That estimate changed. By the time it was built and opened in 1831, the cost was £320,000. In today's money, that would be about £32 million. And to be honest, if they rebuilt this now, I think it would cost a lot more than that. When they constructed the locks, they also built 2 cottages, lock keepers' cottages. They just had 2 lock keepers running all of this, all the 12 locks. I'm sure they were very, very busy and quite fit actually, running up and down here all the time for the amount of traffic that was on here in them days. You can still find one of the cottages is still standing, and that's at Lock 1. And Lock 11, unfortunately, that was demolished many years ago. If you're wondering who invented locks, well, it goes a bit further back than the 1800s, before Thomas Telford. It goes back to the early 15th century. And the inventor at the time was Leonardo da Vinci. Yep, Leonardo da Vinci invented this type of lock. How wonderful is this? Beautiful blossom trees. And a fantastic view of Bosley Cloud, that huge hill in the distance. When they were building all this, I wonder if they thought that in another few hundred years' time, that from all that smoky industrial revolution of transporting coal and other goods up and down the canals would become a place of tranquility, a place where we can walk and cycle and relax and feel good. This is beautiful. Well, here I am at Lock 12, the final lock. it isn't actually the final lock. It is the final lock on the Bosley flight, but there's still another lock, 13, right down the bottom of the canal there. But I'm not going to walk that far today. Now I need a cup of tea. So I've got to head uphill back to the boat, which is about another 1.5 miles. I've done about 6 miles today during the filming. It's great being part of history. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'd just like to say another big thank you, and that is to the thousands of people that dug these canals. I know they're not around now, not with us, but I'm sure they're there in spirit. And if it wasn't for them and the Canal River Trust and the volunteers and the people out there like you subscribing, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be on a different path. And this path that I'm on now, I'm enjoying. I feel good. And another big thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you for coming on board and supporting me since I started the vlogs. And also for your lovely comments that you leave on the channel. I hope you will continue supporting me, and there's many other ways to support me. It does list it on the description. Please support Paolo C as well. If you want any of Paolo C's music, it is on Bandcamp. There is a link below, or if you go to my Facebook page, Narrowboat, you'll find a link there. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you very soon back on board Narrowboat. Thank you.